Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. When I was young, I often felt like I was walking inside a maze built by other people. Teachers told me who I should be, my parents had their own expectations, and society seemed to shout instructions at every corner. I realized that many people spend their entire lives trying to live for others instead of for themselves. But let me ask you something. What would your life look like if you stopped seeking external validation and started listening to your own voice? That question alone can change everything, because it is the beginning of true self-awareness and personal growth. Imagine a flower planted in the wrong soil. No matter how much water it receives, it will never bloom to its fullest. Many of us are like that flower, trying to grow in environments that don't reflect our essence. To flourish, you must find the soil of your own purpose. This is not about selfishness, it is about alignment. When you live in harmony with your inner calling, motivation becomes natural, and productivity feels effortless. You no longer wake up dragging yourself through the day because your path fuels you with energy. I often say, if not now, when? If not me, who? Those words carried me through difficult decisions. They reminded me that time is precious, and postponing authenticity is one of the greatest mistakes we can make. Many people spend decades climbing a ladder only to realize it was leaning against the wrong wall. Success without authenticity feels hollow, like chasing shadows. True empowerment comes when you stop trying to be a copy and start daring to be an original. Think about it. How much of your daily routine is shaped by the fear of disappointing others? That fear is the invisible prison where dreams die silently. But the moment you choose authenticity, something magical happens. You unlock resilience, you discover a success mindset, and you realize that you are stronger than the labels placed on you. Every time you say yes to yourself, you are saying no to chains that never belonged to you. And once you taste that freedom, you begin to wonder, what other expectations can I break to live fully, not tomorrow, but today? For many years, I carried the invisible weight of expectations on my shoulders. It felt like walking with heavy stones in my backpack, stones that others had placed there. Family, friends, and society often tell us who we should become, but rarely ask who we truly want to be. I have seen countless people lose their authenticity because they lived more for the applause of others than for the fire in their own hearts. I remember a friend who loved music. His parents were accountants and expected him to take over the family business. To them, stability was more important than passion, but he was suffocating under that plan. One day, he decided to leave his small town for a bigger city. Within 4 months, he built a small school to teach music to children. Today, he earns 4 times more than what he would have made at the accounting firm, and more importantly, he is fulfilled. That story taught me that chasing your dream might look risky, but betraying your soul is even riskier. I often remind people, when you're poor, if you have a dream, you never feel poor. Dreams are the oxygen of the human spirit. Without them, you may have money, but still feel empty. With them, you may struggle at first, but you carry a wealth that no one can take away. That inner wealth becomes your fuel, your motivation, and the source of your resilience. Living for others may give you temporary approval, but living for yourself gives you self-discipline, empowerment, and true productivity. The courage to prioritize your dreams is not selfishness, it is wisdom. Each time you align your choices with your true calling, you lighten the load that was never meant to be yours. And once you release that burden, a question begins to rise inside you. If I can free myself from their expectations, what else am I capable of creating in my life? I often compare purpose to a treasure buried deep within us. It doesn't vanish just because we ignore it. It waits patiently beneath the layers of fear, doubt, and expectations. Like a seed hidden under the soil, your purpose remains alive, waiting for the right conditions to break through. The question is, are you willing to dig? Many people live entire lives without uncovering this treasure, and they confuse survival with living. But when you touch your true purpose, life stops being a routine and becomes a mission. When I was struggling in the early days of Alibaba, people asked me why I didn't quit after so many rejections. My answer was simple: because I felt my purpose was bigger than my fear of failing. Purpose is the compass that helps you navigate storms. Even when the path is unclear, it whispers that there is meaning in your struggle. Ask yourself, what would you do if you knew you could not fail? That question alone can rewire your success mindset and ignite personal growth like nothing else. Finding your treasure requires self-discipline and resilience. Think of it like mining. At first, you strike rock after rock with nothing to show. But if you persist, one day the pickaxe hits gold. The same is true with your purpose. You may try different paths, face rejection, or stumble many times, but each experience brings you closer to the hidden gem. That is why I say, if you want to catch the rabbit, don't change the rabbit, change yourself. Purpose doesn't adjust to your comfort. You must grow into the person capable of carrying it. Your buried treasure is not a luxury, it is your responsibility. Living without purpose is like owning a map to gold but never daring to follow it. The longer you delay, the deeper the treasure hides beneath layers of regret. But once you begin the journey, step by step, you feel the thrill of discovery. And soon a thought rises. If the treasure was always inside me, what else have I been blind to in my own potential? There comes a moment in everyone's life when your inner voice grows louder than the expectations around you. For years, I tried to follow the path society laid out for me, but deep inside, I knew there was another road. Saying yes to yourself is not arrogance. It is an act of courage. It means prioritizing personal growth and trusting that your essence has value. One day, whether you want it or not, that inner voice becomes impossible to ignore. And if you have been living against it, the shift will feel like an earthquake. I often tell young people that it is better to change course early than to wait until life forces you to. It is like traveling on a road that leads nowhere. The longer you go, the more time you waste, and the harder it becomes to turn around. The sooner you align with your purpose, the smoother the path becomes. This is where self-discipline, success habits, and time management play a critical role. By saying yes to your true self from the beginning, you reduce the turbulence that comes from betraying your essence. When you say yes to yourself, you reclaim your motivation and build mental resilience. Think of a river. If blocked, it grows restless, searching for ways to break free. But once it flows in its natural course, it moves with power and clarity. The same happens when you stop resisting who you really are. Opportunities begin to appear and your productivity skyrockets, not because you force it, but because you are aligned. I often ask myself, if not now, when? If not me, who? That simple question reminds me that delay is the greatest thief of destiny. The power of saying yes to yourself is the foundation of true life transformation. It allows you to live with empowerment instead of regret. People might not always understand, but authenticity inspires more than conformity ever could. And once you taste the freedom of aligning your actions with your dreams, a new possibility emerges in your mind. If I dared to say yes once, how many other doors can I open by honoring myself again and again? Pressure is often seen as the enemy, but I have learned that it is the birthplace of strength. Diamonds are formed under pressure, and so is human character. When I faced rejection after rejection in my early years, people thought I was wasting my time. Yet what they didn't realize is that those moments of tension were shaping me into someone capable of carrying a bigger vision. Without pressure, there is no resilience, and without resilience, there is no lasting success mindset. At times, pressure feels suffocating, like being trapped underwater. But once you learn how to breathe through it, you discover that it is not your enemy, it is your teacher. Each challenge forces you to sharpen your self-discipline, improve your time management, and cultivate emotional intelligence. Instead of breaking me, pressure aligned me with my deeper purpose. It whispered, "This pain is not punishment, it is preparation." When I embraced that, everything changed. I often say to my team, if you want to catch the rabbit, don't change the rabbit, change yourself. Life will never remove the challenges for you. It will keep sending them until you adapt. The pressure you face today is not a curse. It is the training ground for the future you are meant to live. Just as an athlete strengthens muscles by lifting weights, you strengthen your destiny by carrying today's burdens with vision. What feels heavy now will one day become your greatest asset. The moment you shift from asking why me to what for, you transform pressure into fuel. Suddenly, every obstacle becomes a stepping stone, and every setback carries a hidden lesson. That is the power of a growth mindset, to see diamonds in what others call dirt. And as you continue forward, a question begins to form. If pressure can be transformed into purpose, then how much of my current struggle is secretly the foundation of my future success? When people hear the word failure, they usually think of shame, loss, or defeat. But I have learned that failure is not the end, it is feedback. Every mistake I made carved the path toward who I am today. Without failure, there is no personal growth, no self-awareness, and certainly no success habits. In truth, failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of success. I failed many times. I applied for jobs and was rejected more than 30 times. Even Kentucky Fried Chicken rejected me when I applied. At that time, it felt humiliating, but later I realized those rejections were blessings in disguise. They trained my mental resilience and built the muscle of self-discipline. Each no was not closing a door. It was redirecting me toward a bigger vision. That is why I tell people, don't be afraid of failing. Be afraid of not learning from it. Failure is like a mirror. It reflects your weaknesses, but also shows where you need to grow. If you see it as a teacher, failure can guide you better than any textbook. I often share with my audience, when you fail, it's not about falling down. It's about getting up one more time with the better strategy. With each setback, you gather wisdom, strengthen your success mindset, and sharpen your goal-setting skills. This is how you build life transformation brick by brick. The true value of failure lies in how it reshapes your character. Once you stop fearing it, you start embracing risks that others avoid. That courage sets you apart. When I look back, I see that my failures were not scars, but stepping stones. They made me humble, empathetic, and stronger. And as you reflect on your own journey, the real question becomes, if failure is feedback, then what extraordinary future is waiting on the other side of your next setback? When I think about resilience, I often picture a young eagle being pushed out of its nest. At first, the fall seems terrifying. The eagle flaps desperately, unsure if its wings can carry it. But without that push, it would never discover the skies it was born to conquer. Purpose works the same way. Life will often push you out of comfort, and that fall is what awakens your resilience and shapes your success mindset. In my own life, I experienced countless falls. Every rejection letter, every business idea that failed, every time people laughed at me, those were moments that tested me. But they also reminded me why I started. My purpose was bigger than the pain. And that's why I always say, when you're poor, if you have a dream, you never feel poor. Dreams give you strength to rise when the world expects you to stay down. Resilience is not about avoiding difficulties. It's about using them as springboards. Just as an archer pulls the bowstring backward before launching the arrow forward, life sometimes pulls you back so you can shoot higher. When you see your struggles through that lens, they stop being obstacles and become training grounds. Every challenge strengthens your self-discipline, your emotional intelligence, and your capacity for personal development. Purpose and resilience are inseparable. One fuels the other. Without purpose, resilience feels empty. Without resilience, purpose remains a dream without legs. Together, they empower you to keep moving, even when the road is steep. And when you begin to fly after so many falls, a powerful thought takes root in your heart. If I could rise from this, what greater heights am I destined to reach next? Purpose does not reveal itself all at once. It is like driving at night with headlights. You can only see a short distance ahead, yet you trust that the road continues beyond what you see. In the same way, your purpose is uncovered step by step. Too many people wait for absolute clarity before moving, but clarity comes through action, not before it. When you begin walking, even if the light only reaches a few meters, the path unfolds. That is where faith, resilience, and personal growth meet. When I started Alibaba, I had no guarantee it would succeed. I couldn't see the full journey. What I had was a conviction that we were heading in the right direction. People around me doubted, but I chose to move forward. That small beam of faith illuminated the next steps. And just like traveling long distances, you may only see 100 meters ahead, but after 300 kilometers, you will still reach your destination. What matters is not seeing the entire road, but trusting the process. Purpose is revealed in layers, like peeling an onion. With every step, another layer comes off, sometimes bringing tears, sometimes relief. The discomfort is part of the discovery. Every failure, every setback, every hard lesson adds a new layer of understanding. This is why self-discipline, success habits, and time management are so important. They help you keep walking even when the road looks uncertain. If you quit too early, you never reach the depth where the treasure lies. I believe those who succeed are not the ones who see the entire path, but the ones who refuse to stop. Each step you take with motivation and self-belief brings you closer to your goal. And once you reach a milestone, you realize the journey was not just about arriving. It was about becoming stronger along the way. Then a thought arises. If the light only reveals one piece at a time, how many incredible layers of my destiny are still waiting to be uncovered? Dreams without action are like birds with broken wings. They have the vision of flight, but never leave the ground. I've met many talented people who spoke passionately about their goals, but did little to align their actions with those dreams. The truth is simple. Wishing for a new reality is not enough. You must walk step by step in harmony with your vision. That's where self-discipline, productivity, and goal setting transform ideas into achievements. When I started Alibaba, I had hundreds of ideas. Some were exciting, some impossible, and many looked foolish to others. But I learned that only consistent action would prove which ones deserved to survive. Thinking big is important, but taking small daily steps is what builds success habits. Your actions must be the mirror of your thoughts. Otherwise, you live in contradiction, dreaming of one future while walking toward another. I often told myself, if not now, when? If not me, who? That phrase reminded me that every delay creates distance between who I am and who I could become. Thoughts fuel the vision, but actions write the story. If you say you want health, your body must see you act on it. If you say you want wealth, your decisions must reflect it. It's like rowing a boat. If your arms move in opposite directions, you go in circles. But when they move together, you move forward with power. Aligning thoughts and actions is the secret of life transformation. It doesn't mean the path will be easy, but it will be authentic. And when your daily actions match your deepest intentions, you start feeling a harmony that energizes every part of your life. Then the real question appears. If I commit fully, not just in mind, but also in action, how unstoppable can my journey truly become? For a long time, I believed that success was measured by how others looked at me. If people clapped, I felt valuable. If they criticized, I felt small. But living this way is like being a kite in someone else's hands. You fly only when they pull the string. True freedom begins when you no longer need external validation to define your worth. The moment you anchor your confidence in your own heart, you begin to walk as an original, not as a copy. I have seen many entrepreneurs abandon their dreams because the world laughed at them. I too was laughed at. People told me I was crazy to think a small group of teachers and friends could build an internet company in China. If I had listened, Alibaba would never exist. Their doubts were loud, but my belief was louder. That is the power of self-awareness and mental resilience. When you validate yourself, you create an unshakable foundation that no opinion can destroy. Being authentic may disturb some people, but it inspires many others. Courage is contagious. When you dare to walk your own road, you give permission for others to do the same. This is why personal growth is not only about you, it creates ripples. Your authenticity becomes a lighthouse for those who are still lost in the storm of other people's expectations. Validation from within is the key to empowerment, motivation, and true personal development. I often tell people, if you constantly look for approval, you will never lead. You will only follow. But when you choose authenticity, even if it means being misunderstood, you attract the right people into your life. And once you taste that freedom, the next thought becomes irresistible. If my validation no longer depends on the outside world, how limitless can my future truly be? Many people believe they are too old to start, or that they've made too many mistakes to change their lives. I used to think the same way, but the truth is, the biggest prison is not society, it's the walls we build in our own minds. You are not too late, and your purpose has no expiration date. Every step you've taken, every failure, every wrong turn has given you wisdom that is uniquely yours. That wisdom is your competitive advantage in the journey of personal growth. I often ask audiences, how uncomfortable are you with your current situation? Because that discomfort is the fuel that will ignite your first step toward life transformation. If you stay too comfortable, you stay stuck. It is the irritation of the seed that makes it break open and become a tree. In the same way, your dissatisfaction can be the very thing that pushes you into your destiny. That is how motivation and self-discipline are born. Think about it this way. If you tie an elephant with a small rope from the time it's young, it will believe it cannot break free even as it grows into the largest animal in the jungle. Many of us live like that elephant, convinced by past experiences that we are powerless, but the rope is only in your mind. Once you question it, once you take action, you realize the rope was never strong enough to hold you. This is the essence of a success mindset and empowerment. Your purpose is patient, waiting for you to remove the limits you've placed on yourself. Age does not define you. Past failures do not define you. What defines you is your willingness to take the next step. And when you break free from those mental chains, one thought becomes crystal clear. If my limitations were only illusions, what new future can I now create with unlimited vision and unstoppable willpower? Persistence is the quiet force that separates those who dream from those who achieve. When I look back at my journey, I realized that talent and intelligence were never enough. What made the difference was the ability to keep moving forward even when everything seemed impossible. Persistence is not glamorous. It often feels like walking through mud while everyone else runs past you. But it is this consistency that creates breakthroughs, and it is the foundation of success habits and personal growth. In the beginning, building Alibaba was like pushing an airplane down a runway. For the first 500 meters, it consumed enormous energy and resources. Many people doubted us, and many times we doubted ourselves. But I knew that if we kept pushing, eventually the plane would lift. And once it lifted, momentum would carry us forward with ease. Life works the same way. The hardest part is the takeoff. With self-discipline, motivation, and resilience, you eventually reach a point where your efforts start compounding. Persistence also teaches patience. Too often, people expect immediate results. They plant a seed and want a tree the next morning. But growth takes time. You water, you nurture, and you trust the unseen process happening beneath the soil. This is where time management, visualization, and positive thinking become powerful tools. They keep you focused on the long-term vision when the short-term looks discouraging. The truth is, persistence transforms small actions into legacies. Each day you show up, you are building something bigger than yourself. And the beauty is that persistence doesn't just shape results, it shapes you. You become stronger, wiser, and unshakable. And as you continue walking, even when tired, a thought begins to shine inside you. If I have come this far by not giving up, how much further can I go if I simply refuse to stop?
The audience had already felt the energy shift the moment Jack Ma stepped onto the stage. He did not start by talking about wealth or business strategies. Instead, he challenged the crowd with a question that cut through the noise. Who are you beyond expectations? From the very beginning, Jack Ma broke the illusion that success is about meeting external standards. He reminded everyone that true transformation begins when you stop chasing validation and start discovering your authentic self. Jack Ma spoke openly about the invisible weight of living for others. He shared stories of friends who broke away from family traditions to pursue their passion, proving that fulfillment is never born from conformity. His words carried both humor and raw honesty, and the audience could feel the urgency. The cost of betraying your essence is far greater than the fear of following your dream. The heart of his message revealed a treasure buried inside every person, their unique purpose. Jack Ma compared it to a seed waiting to bloom or a map leading to hidden gold. He showed that clarity doesn't arrive before action, but unfolds step by step, like headlights guiding a car at night. The secret, he said, lies in having the persistence to keep moving, even when the road is unclear. He also confronted the universal fear of failure. Instead of presenting it as defeat, Jack Ma reframed failure as feedback, as a mirror reflecting where growth is needed. His own rejections, from job interviews to early business struggles, became stories that inspired resilience. He reminded the audience that diamonds are only formed under pressure, and that every setback carries the seed of transformation. As the speech unfolded, Jack Ma tied purpose to persistence. He used vivid metaphors, a plane fighting for takeoff, an eagle pushed out of the nest, a river breaking through obstacles, to show that resilience and authenticity are inseparable. The more challenges one faces, the stronger their wings become. In his words, success is not built on shortcuts, but on the courage to say yes to yourself, again and again. By the end of the presentation, the crowd understood why Jack Ma is one of the most respected voices in the world. He had not only given advice on productivity, self-discipline, resilience, and life transformation, he had given them a roadmap to reclaim their lives. And the question that lingered in the room was clear. If they dared to apply even one of his lessons today, how much of their destiny could change tomorrow? Now it is your turn to act. Everything I shared with you about purpose, resilience, persistence, and authenticity means nothing if it stays as words. What matters is how you apply it tomorrow morning when the alarm rings, or in the quiet moments when doubt knocks on your door. The greatest transformation in life is not found in theory, but in practice. So let me ask you, which part of this message touched you the most? Was it the idea that failure is feedback? Or the realization that pressure can actually shape your destiny? Share it in the comments, because when you speak your truth, you inspire someone else to keep moving forward. I want you to come back to this video every time you feel lost, unmotivated, or trapped by expectations. Let these lessons remind you that success is not about being the smartest or the luckiest. It is about being the most persistent. Watch this again whenever you need motivation, self-discipline, or resilience. Before you leave, make sure to subscribe to this channel right now. If you don't, chances are you may never find it again, and you will miss out on more tools that can completely transform your life. Hit the notification bell so you can keep learning and applying these strategies to your own journey of personal growth. And finally, don't stop here. The next video is already waiting for you on the screen. Click it and continue this journey of life transformation and empowerment. Because your best future does not start tomorrow. It starts today with the choices you make right now.